This is the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast. We have assembled the world's finest sports and trivia dorks to prove once and for all that we are just as bad at this as we were at sports.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast, sports trivia for those of us who rode the pine. I am your host, Eric. Today's game, we'll be pitting the Benchwarmer team of Josh and Scott versus Benchwarmer Markkus and returning guest David Fudor. Welcome back to the bench, David. I'd say remind us who you are, but you've been on a tournament episode or two, so how about you just let us know how you're doing and anything else you want to share with us?
Well, this was a big day in the Fudor house. I don't know if I think I mentioned this on this podcast once before, but my father was born in Argentina, and I am 50% Argentinian, and that was almost 36 years in the making, getting back to the World Cup final and winning it this morning, and probably saw a few crazy American football games this afternoon, and capping off my night with a podcast. So pretty good Sunday.
Yeah, I'm not happy about the events of American football today. So, yeah, I'm going to just leave it at that. And Markkus, how are you doing? And you can let us know what your team name is.
I'm doing fantastic. I did not watch a ton of the World Cup. I watched it as much as I could. But Argentina's goalie in the PKs, what an absolute dog. When he held that ball and then he rolled it to the side to make the guy who missed for France, made him go get the ball, and then he missed, I was like, this guy is the greatest goalie of all time. I said, sign me up. I'm his biggest fan. It was incredible. So yes, congratulations to Argentina. And because of that, David and my team name is going to be a messy Christmas, but in honor of Argentina and how white people, or excuse me, American people decide to pronounce it, we're going to be a methy Christmas. So that's our team name.
All right. And Josh and Scott, how you guys doing?
I'll go because Josh has our team name. I'm good. Not much going on. I just want to address you guys. If anything ever happens to me, if I ever get injured during a recording or if I expire, please keep going on. Don't stop. I had a softball game this week, and one of the other guys on the team dislocated his shoulder and his wrist. He collided with a shortstop and left fielder collided. A team of 16 people, and they just ended the game and left because one guy got hurt. And we were in the third inning, and I was pissed because I want to play. There's no reason for the whole game to end because one idiot went too hard and ran into his own teammate because they didn't communicate and dislocated his wrist. Like, okay, now one person takes in the hospital. They have 14 people left on the roster. Continue the damn game. So I told my team, guys, if I get hurt, you better effing play because this is ridiculous. So I want you guys to know the same thing. Please don't ever feel like you need to shut anything down in my memory. Game goes on. I'll live.
Well, maybe not. You did say even if you passed, so you might not live.
I'll have an afterlife. I'll come back as like David Lux's brain.
Yuck.
And Josh?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Yesterday, as a Vikings fan, was weird, a little bipolar, a little terrible in the first half, about as bad as you can play, and then somehow have the biggest comeback victory in NFL history. Okay, cool. Other than that, everything's just kind of normal. Everything's going well. And we are bringing back an old team name from episode 71 when Scott and I teamed up. I think this was shortly after you dubbed your kind of tagline as the L Train.
That's right.
So today we will be the Well Train rides again.
Choo choo, mother effers.
Wow.
Oh, it's that time of year for Yippee-Ki-Yay. I can't do choo choo.
It's the holiday season. All right. Let's kick it over to Dan for the rules.
The game will consist of 4 quarters of play, each with different trivia style. The styles of quarters 1 through 3 will change from show to show, and I will explain them as we go along. Like any good sporting event, we will have a halftime show after the second quarter with entertainment questions. And in the fourth quarter, our teams will wager from their points accumulated to see who are today's Clipboard Captains, to be honored like the true benchwarmers they are. All right, let's get this game underway.
So today's first quarter will be flop, turn, and river.
Flop, turn, and river. For this quarter, there will be 3 questions consisting of 5 clues. The first 3 clues will be given before the teams decide if they want to check in with their guests. The last 2 clues will be given one at a time, with teams deciding if they want to check in with their guests after each subsequent clue. If a correct answer is checked in after the first 3 clues, the team will receive 50 points. After the 4th clue, 30, and after the 5th clue, 20.
And I've done this the last 2 games I've hosted, so I'm going to do it a 3rd time because I just like doing it so much. And this is going to be the same name. So it's flop will be 3 first names, turn will be 1 first name, and river will be the 4th or the 5th first name. They all share the same last name. Make sense? Questions? Concerns? Question 1, the flop. I have Dave, Chris, and James.
I don't know, Marcus. I think we probably need one more.
I agree.
All right, we'll do the same then, Josh.
All right.
Yeah.
Both teams are very anxious to hear the turn. And for that, it's not an Amante, but the first name is Tony.
All right, we're going to check in.
All right. Methy Christmas.
There you go.
I don't think I'm going to be comfortable with how often methy is going to be said on the podcast today. So
Embrace
kids,
it.
What do you
Kids.
mean, Josh?
kids, don't do it.
They're just big fans of Lionel Messi.
The owl L train rides again. What do you got? Talk it out.
Dave,
Just because
Chris,
it's-
James, and Tony.
Because it's Eric, I just assumed at least 2 of these are hockey players. Is there a Dave Chelios?
I don't
There,
know.
Tony Jelly.
Oh, Tony Chelios. Is there a Dave Esposito?
I mean, there's a Tony Pollard and a Chris Pollard. Is there a Dave Pollard and a James Pollard?
Not. I don't know. I think we stick with Brown because we're not wrong.
Is there a Tony Brown? You know, a
Tony Brown is a crappy corner for the Cowboys. I guess it's Anthony, but you know,
Yeah, but Chris Brown and James Brown. And
they're entertainers.
It's halftime.
we're not halftime.
And Dave Brown's been on Benchwarmers. Shout out Dave Brown. What's up?
He's my old manager, Adele.
I would like to think. Oh, I got it.
Do you?
Right?
What?
Parker?
Dave Parker?
There's definitely Dave Parker, Tony
Yeah.
Parker. Who's Chris Parker?
I don't know who Chris
He
Parker
sounds
is.
like he'd be a guy, right? And he sounds
James Parker?
he sounds like a D2 quarterback, Chris Parker, but you
So
know,
I gave you Pollard and you said Parker.
I don't know that I can't get 3 of 4 for either of those.
Neither can I.
Tony Olivo. I don't think there's a James
You
Olivo.
don't think there's a Dave Oliva and a Chris Oliva? No.
Tony Clark, Dave
I
Clark,
have-
Chris
I
Clark,
have,
James
I have one
Clark.
name left.
There Tony DiMaggio,
Tony Gonzalez?
Chris Gonzalez, James. No, I don't know. Dave
James
Gonzalez. Yeah, I don't know.
I say we just take the last one, which usually is supposed to be the giveaway.
I'm worried because if he says Steve, we're going to be in the same boat. But let's just go for it.
We'll take the river.
The river for question 1 is Breanna.
Sorry, Breanna.
Brianna Stewart.
Oh, Dave Stewart, James Stewart.
James Stewart.
Yeah.
Tony Stewart. Yeah. I don't know about
Yes.
Chris, but I'm sure there must be a Chris Stewart.
That's
He's probably a
pretty
hockey
common.
player.
But yeah, that works. I thought he said Rihanna, and I was like, Fenty.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to check in with Stewart.
Yes.
All right. We're checking in with Stewart.
And Methy Christmas. What'd you guys have? I'm gonna
Wait
have
a
a
minute.
speech. I'm gonna have a speech impediment at the end of this game.
Hold on. I'm just thinking about the graphic with Rihanna's head on Breanna Stewart's body. Oh my gosh. Go ahead, David.
After the first 3, I threw out Stewart a little bit early. Chris Stewart was I don't know if that's the one you're thinking of, but he was a backup Pirates catcher for a while. I think he might have caught. with the
Oh, I
Yankees,
remember
too.
him. Oh, yeah, he was.
And then
good.
I said James Stewart, the actor, like Back to the Future. But then Marcus reminded me he was a running back for the Panthers and the Jaguars. But we needed one more, and with Tony Stewart, we felt a little bit more confident. So we did lock in with or check in with Stewart.
So Dave Stewart,
Fair.
everybody knows the pitcher. Chris Stewart is a hockey player, so you guys actually were correct about that. Play for the Avalanche, Blues, Sabres, among other teams. And then James Stewart. And then Tony Stewart, everybody knows him. He killed a guy. And Breanna Stewart, as far as I know, did not kill anybody.
Kills it on the court every time she goes out
There you go. All right. So both teams getting their points, and we'll move on to question number 2.
Seattle Storm legend Breanna Stewart.
All right. Question number 2, the flop. We have Tim, Steve, and Justin.
Yeah, I think we need another.
We're already in. I'd say we take one more.
We're gonna take another.
We'll take one more too.
All right. Both teams taking the next name, the turn. Frank.
We are going to check in.
All right. Methy Christmas has checked in. The Owl L train rides again. You guys are free to talk it out now.
Players got Tim Thomas, Justin Thomas, and Frank Thomas. And I mean, Steve Thomas is such a generic name. Could be a coach, could be an old defensive back. I mean, it's a common enough name.
I'm fine with going with it.
Because I just don't think that's better than any of the other last names we thought of initially. When we
I'm not sure how close Thomas is to Johnson's, just Joneses and Smiths, but
Johnsons. How close Thomas is to Johnsons?
I mean, 3 out of the 4 fit.
Let's do it.
All right.
We're checking in Thomas.
All right. And Methy Christmas, what'd you guys check in?
Yeah, we had a very, very similar conversation. And, David was like, the basketball player was Steve Thomas, right? And I said, I think of Tim Thomas as a basketball player. And we couldn't think of Steve. And then we got really sidetracked. We're not going to get into that. But we eventually were trying to think of other names. And we said Frank. And then we asked for the next one. And then you said Frank. And so we have also checked in with Thomas.
All right. So the river that nobody wanted was Thurman. So that
Munson.
So the correct answer is Thomas. Both teams getting their points. The Tim Thomas I was thinking of was not the basketball player, but
that's the hockey player.
There was 2 of them in this one. So it's Tim Thomas, the American goalie, Steve Thomas, Canadian winger, Justin Thomas, the golfer, Frank Thomas, of course.
Tim Thomas was Detroit, right?
Boston.
Pittsburgh, right? Or Boston? Yeah, I knew it was one of the yellow teams.
One of the yellow team.
I'm sorry, he was a basketball player. I don't recognize his hockey.
Yeah, Villanova legend.
I love Tim Thomas.
I love Tim Thomas, man.
On to question 3. The flop turn river. For the flop, we have Chris, Mike, and Pete.
Eric, we're checked in.
The Owl L train is checked in. That means Methy Christmas. You guys can talk it out and let me know if you want another name.
All right, David, what you thinking?
I only have one guess so far, but who's Chris Rose? Would he be the TV show? He's like a
media
personality. Does that count on these games, or do you have to be an athlete?
I would like to think that it wouldn't be a part of this game, but it does.
And then who would be the next name?
So who are you thinking of? Mike Rose?
I don't know one. Mike Rowe. Rowe was Dirty Job, right? Wasn't there a Mike Rowe?
So the only Mike Rose I know, and I might be wrong on this, I thought there was a linebacker for Iowa State. That's the only thing I'm thinking of, but
I don't know it. I mean, he might say Justin Rose, and then that's another Rose, but I'm trying to think of who else would be.
Mike Maravich, Chris Maravich.
Mike Maravich sounds like a linebacker from Iowa State.
Yeah, he does.
Mike Cavilla. We probably need another one.
So there's something super generic like Davis, because you go Chris Davis, which is Baltimore Orioles. You go Mike Davis, the running back.
Right.
But I don't know of a Pete Davis off the top of my head.
Right.
Pete is the one we need to latch on to. So Pete, like I said, Maravich is the first one that I was thinking of with Pete.
Pete Rose.
Pete Rose. Oh, Pete Alonso. Mike Alonso, Chris Alonso. I don't know if that works.
I don't know any of those.
No.
No.
Pete Alonso for the Mets.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
I don't know it.
I mean, we could guess Rose, but I don't know. I say we just take another one.
Yeah, I think we were ahead of them on the first one. Let's take one.
Yeah, we'll take another one.
All right. The next name, the turn for this is Shea.
Okay, there was a Connecticut player named Shea Ralph. There Chris Ralph, Mike Ralph, Pete Ralph. Shea Hillenbrand, Shea
Weber, Pete Weber, Mike Weber,
the bowler.
Chris Weber. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, cool. What a great question. That's a great question, Eric. Wow. Yeah, I think we should check in with Weber. Shea Weber. I was like Shea Patterson. I was thinking of the Michigan and Ole Miss quarterback, and then I was like, Weber makes a
I
lot
just
more
caught
sense.
Shea Weber's. Is that Predators hockey? Is that hockey player?
He's a hockey player.
Maybe not the Predators. I don't know. But
Yeah, no, I think he was on the Predators for a long time at the very least. So
let's check that in.
Yeah, we'll check in with Weber.
All right, and over to Owl L Train. What was your answer?
Yeah, we're thinking the river here is probably Dick. As soon as I heard Pete, I first thought was Pete Weber, and then I went, oh, Chris Weber. Yeah, we really didn't think too much about it, so we checked in with Weber.
And the river, of course, is Dick.
Dad. Oh, this last one.
Glad he's dead.
American treasure. I don't know about that.
All right, so both teams get their points. The correct answer is Weber. All right, after the first quarter, we have a score of Methy Christmas with 90, and the Owl L Train rides again with a slight lead at 100.
We wanted to let you know that we are on Patreon if you'd be interested in supporting us financially. Your contributions will be used to help us cover the costs that it takes to bring you the high-quality sports trivia you have come to expect from us. There's also some great perks that come with the Patreon membership to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast, including bonus episodes and Benchwarmers swag. You can find us at patreon.com/benchwarmerstp. Thanks.
That brings us to the second quarter, and today's second quarter will be the missing link.
The Missing Link. This quarter will consist of 5 questions with theme-linked answers. The teams will attempt to answer the questions and guess the theme. Each question is worth 20 points. If a team checks in first via chat to the host with the correct theme before the 5th question, they will earn 100 points. The other team can still earn 50 points with the correct theme guess. If neither team has checked in with the correct theme before the 5th question, each team can earn 50 points with the correct answer to the theme after the 5th question.
Is this just payback for all the missing links that people throw at you? And
We'll see. All right, question number 1 in the missing link. This Puerto Rican professional boxer and entertainer known for his quickness in the ring and flamboyant style was shot and killed in 2012.
We're going to check in.
All right, Methy Christmas has checked in. Owl L Train, talk it out.
just sent a note over to Scott saying I'm trying to think of like flamboyant boxers, because obviously that's a whole different breed.
It's a subcategory of boxer.
Camacho.
Oh,
Is he Puerto Rican? Was he killed?
I can't answer definitively yes or no to either of those questions.
Because, Macho Camacho, I think he was a pretty flamboyant boxer,
Sure.
but I have no idea if it works for either
That
criteria.
might be our best guess. But I haven't heard anything about him in 10 years, so
I
maybe
agree.
This is why.
I agree.
Like, you'd think maybe if he was still with us, he would have been on like The Surreal Life or Celebrity Apprentice or something.
Maybe.
You would have been on.
Or he would have just been at
with the
some
stars by
fight.
now.
Like you would have just heard about him
Yeah,
being
right,
at
like
a fight or something. And I don't know. That's the only one I can come up with who was kind of was kind of flamboyant.
Yeah, I like it. I'm not sure that we're going to come up with anything else that.
All right.
Because I mean, we come up with another name and then we're in the same boat anyway. Of like, are they alive? Are they Puerto Rican?
Right.
So,
Right. All right. So we're gonna check in with Camacho.
All right, Methy Christmas, what do you got?
We had a similar. There's like an old trivia game where it's like Canadian, dead, both or neither. So we were sort of playing that game with Puerto Rican boxers, and we both sort of messaged each other Hector Camacho immediately. We mentioned a few other names, but we felt pretty confident that it was Hector Camacho. So that's what we checked in with.
All right, both teams getting points. The correct answer is Hector Camacho, who was, like I said at the end of the question, shot and killed in 2012, was in a car passenger seat, shot in the face. Didn't die immediately, lasted a couple of days. And,
So he was the Joker from Tim Burton's Batman.
On to question 2. What 7-time Pro Bowler has over 900 career receptions and 63 career touchdowns as of this recording? Unfortunately, injuries have limited his availability in the past 3 seasons, including this season, where he's catching passes from the GOAT.
We're checked in.
All right. Owl L Train has checked in. Methy Christmas, talk it out.
Okay, so 7-time Pro Bowler, 900 receptions, 63 touchdowns. The past 3 seasons, so he's active. Okay, if it's somebody who's active still and injuries, I think you threw out Julio Jones pretty early, and I think that has to be it, right?
Well, I mean, GOAT means Brady, right? So it kind of narrows it down to.
Oh, catching pat. Oh, okay. I pulled an Eid in his own game. Didn't read the whole question. Catching passes from the GOAT. Yeah, then yeah, it has to be. Has to be Julio.
Yeah, let's check that in.
All right, we're gonna check in with Julio Jones.
Okay, and Owl L Train, answer please.
Yeah, there was really only one name that made sense based on the criteria. So we also checked in with Julio Jones.
Fairly easy. It is Julio Jones. I don't know if he caught a touchdown today, so those numbers could be different.
Definitely did not.
All right, so
He
that
didn't play.
fixes that. So far, our theme link answers right now are Hector Camacho and Julio Jones. That brings us to question number 3. What undrafted wide receiver out of UMass would break out in his second season with 82 receptions over 1,500 yards and helping lead his team to a Super Bowl win over the GOAT?
We can check in.
Methy Christmas has checked in. Owl L Train, you guys can talk it out.
Okay, so we're looking at Giant or an Eagle,
The
right?
name that came to me was Victor Cruz.
See UMass?
I think so. I know he was not on the draft radar, and he kind of came out of nowhere. And the 1,500 yards, I mean, he was a deep threat. So that's, sounds right. And that was around the time, it would have been the 2011 Giants.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the right time frame for him to be in his second season.
Okay, I'm good with that.
All right, we're going to check in with Victor Cruz.
All right, and Methy Christmas, answer please.
UMass is basically a Pavlov at this point. You hear UMass, it's got to be Victor Cruz. So we checked in with Victor Cruz.
All right, both teams getting points on this one. The correct answer is, of course, Victor Cruz, who only really had 2 really good seasons and then kind of fizzled out pretty quickly.
If you win a Super Bowl in one of those couple of years, that it works out pretty well for you.
Theme linked answers so far, we have Hector Camacho, Julio Jones, and Victor Cruz. On to question 4. What infielder became the 3rd player in history with a career batting average over 300, 500 home runs, and 3,000 hits, joining Hank Aaron and Willie Mays?
We're checked in.
All right, L Train's checked in. Methy Christmas, talk it out.
I like everything you have there, except for the one part that we're struggling with. I don't know. I mean, I'm with you. Like,
What's the most exclusive club there? The 500 home run club, right?
yes.
So that should narrow it down when you're talking that and infielders, right? There can't be that many after those 2. So, and this is someone after those 2 because he joined the club. I just don't know why. I feel like infielder, it sounds weird, but I feel like it's probably not a first baseman.
Did David Ortiz, he didn't make it to 500 and he wouldn't have had.
Did he have 3,000 hits?
No, I don't know. He played in a high school ballpark. So I think every Boston player's stats are always skewed. But you said A-Rod, and I know he got to 500 home runs, and I know he got to 3,000, but the average is the one that's giving me pause.
Yeah,
But I can't think of anybody else that fits the criteria besides him.
That's going to be my best guess. I just can't think of anybody else.
We can check it in.
Okay.
All right. We'll check in with Alex Rodriguez.
All right, and over to Owl L Train, your answer?
Yeah, I'm assuming our conversations were very similar. We threw out the same type of names. Ortiz, we had that kind of pondered that same thing. Did he get to 3,000 hits? And then, but infielder's interesting with him, right? Because DH is, so there was kind of also the wording. And then we thought Josh asked about Pujols, and I know that his batting average just slipped under 300 this past season for his career. So that didn't sound right. Then I thought there was someone else active that I think may have all these. So we checked in with Miguel Cabrera.
All right, one team getting points. The correct answer is Miguel Cabrera.
I think A-Rod's average dipped just below 300 for his career.
That's what happens with all these guys that play like a couple seasons longer than they probably
should. Yeah, I had a feeling, but if I would have thought of Miguel Cabrera, I definitely would have probably said, yeah, that's got to be it. But yep. All right, good pull.
So our theme-linked answers so far have been Hector Camacho, Julio Jones, Victor Cruz, and Miguel Cabrera. And we'll move on to question number 5. What outfielder was the 2011 stolen base leader? In his career, he played for the Indians, the A's, Red Sox, and Royals. Most don't know him by his real first name, Cavelli.
All right, we're going to check in.
All right. Methy Christmas has checked in. Owl L Train. You guys can talk it out.
Well, we don't have to talk it out. This is Coco Crisp. Is that it? He only played? I thought he played for more teams than that. So you good with Coco Crisp?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to check in with Coco Crisp.
All right. Methy Christmas. What was your answer?
Or like Christmas, right? Coco?
We also checked in with Coco Crisp.
All right. And both teams getting their points on this one. The correct answer is Coco Crisp. I've had theme guesses, but if anybody wants to change theirs, you got a minute to do so.
Nope. Go ahead, Josh. Send that over.
I mean, if they're sticking with theirs, then we should be able to talk out our change because we are definitely changing theirs.
If they're not changing theirs, then you can definitely talk it out.
So you guys are good?
Yep.
Yeah. I don't think there was a Coco in Menudo. So
I mean, after the first few names, that was really the only thing we had to latch on.
I was waiting for a Ricky.
I know. I know.
But
yeah,
with Coco, I think this has to be characters from the movie Coco.
I can't imagine it would be anything else. I haven't seen it. So, but yeah, I would think that's it.
All right. So that's what we're going to check in with for our revised theme guess. Yes. All right. We're going to check in the theme of characters from the movie Coco.
And Methy Christmas, what was your theme link guess?
Were you guys in our chat?
Like, yeah, it's like the exact same conversation.
After Julio, I'm like Hector Julio to Menudo. Like what else?
That's what we said.
What else could it possibly be?
I think there were like 100 Menudo members.
Exactly.
There must be an Alex.
Well, as soon as they hit puberty,
Rodriguez.
they left and they had to bring in someone else who had braces.
And then me and Markkus, of course, we were like, Miguel Tejada's coming up as an answer because I was like, Miguel, if we hear a Miguel, it's Coco. And then, of course, I don't know, we couldn't think of Miguel Cabrera, but that's on us. But I think we got to Coco a little quicker. Right, Markkus?
I don't know. You're the one who put it in. You just said I already sent it in. So I said, okay.
I put in Coco characters.
I hope so. So, yeah. Anyways.
All right. So, unfortunately, you guys did give me that answer before the 5th question, but Markkus sent me Menudo before that. He sent that after the 2nd question. So it was an incorrect first guess. So you guys don't get the 100 points, but both teams will be getting 50 points on the theme. All right.
You sent it after 2. Good for you.
So
we were thinking Menudo after 2, but I was like, let's at least wait because Menudo seems so far fetched.
So Hector Camacho, of course, is Hector, which is one of the main characters in the movie, and then there's Papa Julio, Ernesto de la Cruz, Miguel Rivera, and of course Mama Coco.
I've heard.
Oh my God, David! I'm so sorry. I misread what you said. I feel like such. I just went back up in our chat. I screwed that up. I missed where you said Coco characters. So I sent in
the joy of my day has now been ruined, Mark. You're fine, Mark.
Okay.
No big deal.
Oh, no. I'm just letting you know. I told them before this. I said, should we take an early swing? And you said, that's it, send it in. That's what I saw. You said Hector and Julio. I didn't see Coco characters. And then I sent members of Menudo to Eric literally right after that.
All right. After today's 2nd quarter, we have a score of Methy Christmas with 220 and Owl L Train rides again, extending their lead slightly with 250. And that brings us to today's halftime.
It is now time for the halftime show. There will be 3 entertainment questions pertaining to sports, with each question worth 25 points.
Oh, it doesn't have to be sports related? Cool. Today's halftime is going to be the Billboard Hot 100. And how this is going to work is I'm going to give you a year and either a song title or an artist. And you have to tell me the number one song of that year for the art or the artist who had that song. So examples would be if I said 2015 Uptown Funk, the artist would be
Mark Ronson.
There you go. Or if I said 2013 Macklemore, the song would be.
Oh, you take this one, Markkus. He's from Seattle, even though you hate him.
Macklemore.
I know.
That's
Thrift shop.
There it is.
Yes.
So that's how easy this works. All right. Here we go. Question number 1 at halftime. The year is 2002, and the band or artist is Nickleback.
We're gonna check in.
All right. Owl L Train checked in. Methy Christmas, talk it out.
You know any more Nickelback songs, Markkus?
What?
I was thinking maybe you checked something in already and I didn't know about it and it was right. So
Wow. Ooh.
Why don't you take a guess and I will go with it?
I feel like there's another big song and I can't remember what it's called. Let's say Photograph. How about that? That was the first one that came to my head.
Okay.
All right. And Owl L Train, what was your answer?
Just based on the year, it made sense. Yeah, Photograph was like later than this. This had to be from the Silver Side Up album that came out in 2001. I think it's never made it as a wise man, couldn't cut it as a poor man stealing. I think this is how you remind me. So that's what we checked in with.
All right. One team getting points. The correct answer is their first, their basically kickoff song, which is How You Remind Me.
Scott, you know way more about Nickelback than I would like you to know.
He just told us everything we needed to know.
I have no issues with Nickelback's music. I can detach it from the douchey lead singer. I think the songs are fine. And yeah. Do I think they're a Hall of Fame?
Sure
do I think they're a Hall of Fame rock band? No, but do I think their songs are fine?
They're that douchey. They actually they buy into all of the Nickelback hate. As a matter of fact, they started selling T-shirts online that were like Nickelback sucks. So they're actually making money off of people.
I'm sure they are
buying things, disparaging them. So anyway.
All right. So for question 2, we're going to go back another 8 years from 2002 to 1994. And the song was The Sign.
Wow, we're checked in.
L Train has checked in. Methy Christmas, you guys can talk it out.
This one I know, Markkus.
I know
this one I know. This was 94. This is like prime, like Columbia House. You get 10 CDs for a penny. And I think everybody was ordering this one. So Ace of Base.
All right. And Owl L Train.
I actually knew this one.
I figured you would. That's why I'm going to let you take this one.
It's Ace of Base.
Both teams getting their points. The correct answer is Ace of Base. And bonus points if somebody can name another Ace of Base.
All that she wants. Come on.
There it is. Yeah. How did I know he would have that out of his mouth before I could finish?
Also, they did a great remix of Cruel Summer by Bananarama.
All right. On to question 3, the last one at halftime. And we're going to go back another 8 years. The year is 1986. And the artist is Dion and Friends.
We can check in.
Methy Quithmith has checked in. L Train, talk it out.
Okay, Josh. So the Dion in question looks like it's Dionne Warwick.
Yes, it is Dionne Warwick.
So, is 86? That's what Friends are for?
It would have been sometime in that.
And I mean, Dion and Friends. It's
that kind of
feels like it has to be. I don't know the exact time that song came out. I mean, I heard it in the 90s, so
I guarantee you it definitely came out.
Well, I know it's before I know it's before the 90s.
I can't think of another Dionne Warwick song that would have been number 1.
That's my other thing, right? At least not in the 80s, maybe in the 70s, but
right. Yeah, no, I say we go with it.
All right, we're gonna check in with That's What Friends Are For in good times and bad times.
And Methy Christmas, your answer.
No, I'm going to let Markkus take this one. No, I'm just kidding. He somehow has left me.
Markkus gone?
But that's okay. Yeah, I think the Friends are Elton John, Stevie Wonder, and Gladys Knight. That was something we checked in with pretty early, but we said that's what Friends are for.
All right. Both teams getting their points. The correct answer is that's what friends are for. And I just, Dionne Warwick should not have had any songs that were number 1.
Well, that's why she needed friends.
I mean, that's a pretty powerful list of friends to help you get there.
Hey guys, can you give me a number 1 song? Sure.
Let me call up these more successful people.
All right.
No shade on Dionne Warwick, but
No, plenty of it. All right. After halftime, we have a slight score difference here. Again, Matthew Christmas with 270 and Al Train extending their lead slightly to 325.
We'd like to take a minute to invite you to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at BenchwarmersTP. We also have a Facebook group for fans of the pod called The Bench. Join us there to comment on the latest episodes and share cool sports facts and trivia. If you'd be willing to rate and review us on iTunes or Stitcher, we'd greatly appreciate the support so that other people may find this podcast. Thanks.
So that brings us to today's third quarter. In today's third quarter, it's Lucky 7.
Lucky 7. For this quarter, there will be 3 lists containing 7 items. The team that is trailing coming into the quarter will choose the first list and attempt to identify the items on this list one at a time. If the team has an incorrect guess, the other team can attempt to finish that list out. The team leading at the beginning of the quarter will select the second list, and whichever team is trailing after the first 2 lists will get the third list. Each item is worth 10 points.
First list choice goes to the team that is trailing. So, Methy Christmas, you get to pick first of these 3 lists. We have, prior to the games played on December 18th, 2022, I need the top 7 NFL sack leaders, or as of this recording, the top 7 goal scorers in the NHL.
Is it for the current season? Is that what you're, or
yes,
just
okay. The current, as of this recording, the current season. Or the third list is, as of today's, I need ranked teams 1 through 7 in men's college basketball.
Let's go with sacks then, for sure.
All right. And let me know when you're ready to check in, and then you'll give me one answer at a time. You keep going until you miss one.
All right, we're checking in.
All right. Methy Christmas, hit me with your list one at a time.
Okay, we are going to start with Micah Parsons.
With 12 sacks, Micah Parsons is at number 4.
Ooh.
Our next one is Matthew Judon.
With 14 and a half sacks, Matthew Judon is at number 2.
Our next one is Nick Bosa.
With 15 and a half sacks, Nick Bosa is number 1.
Our next one is Myles Garrett.
13 and a half, Myles Garrett is number 3.
Our next one is Chris Jones.
With 11, Chris Jones is number 6.
Our next one is Max Crosby.
With 11 and a half, Max Crosby is number 5. So we have one left.
And our last one is Uchenna Nwosu.
Is not in the top 7.
Good run.
Very nice.
So that will go back to our L train to see if you guys can get the last one.
So we're looking at 11.
11 or 10 and a half.
Yeah. And like I said, Hassan Reddick got 2 today. And I believe that put him in double figures. So those won't count. I want to say he got to 11 today. I know he had 2 sacks today.
Okay.
So it may not be him. I know that Highsmith is having a breakout season for the Steelers. I know he's been high on this list. And I think they've named all the other people we were kind of throwing around.
I think so, because I took Zadarius Smith off because he's only at 10. I know that.
Yeah.
Man, he was hot early, but he's kind of cooled off.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just not sure I can think of anyone else. So if you want to go Highsmith, I can't think of anyone else.
I think that's just what we'll do. We're going to check in with Highsmith.
All right. Highsmith is not number 7. So prior to the games on the 18th of 2022, number 7 was Quinnen Williams.
Which team?
Jets, which makes sense because that's how they've won, is with their defense.
He's been wrecking people this year. Finally.
So I'm going to pretend like I don't know what list you're going with next, but what list are you going with next?
I think we're going to go with the NCAA rankings, the AP rankings, right?
Yes.
All right. We are going to check in.
All right. Let's go.
First, we're going to go with Purdue.
Purdue is number 1.
Next, we're going to go with Alabama.
Alabama is number 4.
Next, UConn.
UConn is number 3.
Virginia.
Virginia is number 2.
Houston.
Houston is number 5.
Do you have a preference on those other two?
I don't.
Go in the order maybe I typed them there.
Yeah, probably.
All right, next we're going to go Kansas.
Kansas is not in the top 7. So that leaves 2 for Methy Christmas to come up with.
So the top 5 are gone.
Yep. We're looking for 6 and 7.
Well, can we go with my one because of the matchup that I told you about?
Yes, if you're sure. Go. Yes.
I'm fairly positive. Josh North bet on this game. I'm pretty sure it was 6 versus 9. So we're going to go Tennessee.
Nice. At number 6, we have Tennessee.
Nice.
All right, go for it, David. Finish it out.
I thought I read the head. I thought they were ranked really high when their coach got arrested. I'm going to say Texas.
At number 7, we have Texas.
Nice,
So
guys.
that list is finished. Matthew Christmas with 350 and our L Train rides again at 375. So the last list will go to Matthew Christmas. Take your 5 minutes. Come up with the top.
Do you have a
What's the
fourth
last
list I
list?
could swap in, or like a fourth list?
What's the last list?
The current 7 goal scoring leaders in the
Oh,
current
God.
NHL season.
We'll check in.
Oh, Matthew Christmas has checked in, and let's hear your list.
Okay, our first one is Connor McDavid.
With 27 goals, Connor McDavid is number 1.
Okay, number 2, we're gonna go with the guy who scored like 4 or 5 in one period. I can't remember. I think it was 4. Tage Thompson.
24 goals. Tage Thompson is number 2.
How many was it? Do you know off the top?
He scored 5, I believe.
That was insane.
Wow.
It was all over Twitter. Everybody they were like, what's the equivalent? And they were like, remember when Klay Thompson scored 37 points in a quarter? That's the equivalent of him scoring 5 in one quarter or one period. Anyways, next we'll go Leon Draisaitl.
21 goals. Leon Draisaitl is tied for 5th.
And we're going to go chalk here. Alex Ovechkin.
With 20 goals, Alex Ovechkin is tied for 7th.
Ooh.
All right.
Well, you got 4.
We'll go with your name, but I think the first time you typed it was correct.
Okay.
We'll say Kasparov.
That is incorrect.
Damn. All right.
Not bad.
What was his name? What's his first name?
Wait.
I can't remember who he plays for.
I don't even know.
I know who he plays for.
No. I'm asking the host. I'm asking just who he plays for.
Was that an incorrect pronunciation of?
I believe so. I'm trying
of
to
a
figure
Minnesota
out.
Wild player.
Oh,
I believe that's.
Is
he's
that who
going
you
for.
based your no off of on that, or you can't tell me that?
No. It's Kaprizov. Is that who you were trying to say?
I put 3K. We put Kasparov,
Kivsparov, and Krapizov. So I think we're disqualified either way.
David, be careful with 3Ks.
I was I caught myself, Scott.
Regardless of the pronunciation, he's
Okay.
not in the top 7.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
So they got 4. So
They
there's
got
3
4.
left.
They got the 4.
Hey, David,
projected
nice
for
work.
them. Yeah.
Good job, Markkus.
All right, so we're gonna go over to L Train to see if you guys can finish off this list.
Gonna
Oh,
go
I
with
don't think
Josh.
there's gonna be any finishing the list.
Well, there's one name that
I have
we
one. I have one.
and he's a mighty duck, so I think we go with it.
He's a mighty duck.
Not like you'll see.
Goldberg
No, close.
Robertson.
with 23 goals. Jason Robertson is
Oh,
number 3.
you were very close, David.
Not Dwayne.
We wouldn't have got it though.
I
No,
thought it was
we wouldn't
Dwayne
have got
Robertson.
it. So 2 pronunciations were off for us.
I don't think I have another name, Scott.
At all.
Well, that could be on the list.
Oh,
I gotta imagine that Kaprizov is close, but I don't think he's top 7. And you
Well,
even
we
said
know he's not top 7. Okay. I don't know. Come on.
I don't start paying attention to the NHL a whole lot until after the football season is done. Because then there still is another like 4 months, 5 months, 6 months of hockey after that.
So why don't we just throw out a name where there's multiple of, and so we can try to.
Okay.
If that was a couple Hughes guys, we can just pick a last name that has multiple people.
Other ones who've been good in the past, Crosby, but I don't know if he's having.
I don't know what he's up to.
I don't know. You mentioned the Hughes. You want to go Hughes?
I just know there are people that play hockey in the NHL.
At this point, I don't have anything else. I had 4. Yeah, I had 4 names. They mentioned 3 of them, so I mentioned the 4th.
Yes, you did.
So,
all right, we're gonna say Hughes.
All right, Hughes in any way, shape, or form is not in the top 7. So the names missed at number 4 with 22 goals, Bo Horvat.
Who?
Xander Horvath?
At number 5, tied with 5 with 21 goals with Leon Draisaitl is Mikko Rantanen.
Who?
From Colorado.
Correct. And tied at 7 with one Alex Ovechkin from Boston is David Pasternak. Or Pasternak.
That's a hockey player? Sounds like a school principal.
All right. So after today's third quarter, we have a lead change. Our L train rides again with 385 and Methy Christmas. After that third quarter has taken a 5-point lead. They have 390.
Ooh. Can you feel the tension in the air right now? I know I can. I can feel it.
With that said, it brings us to today's fourth quarter.
The fourth quarter, known as Put Your Fours Up. This quarter consists of 4 categorized questions that teams will wager up to 100 points each, not to exceed their current point total.
The categories for today are as follows. Question 1, Eric, which is family and sports. Question 2, Kyle, draft busts. Question 3, Stan, which is Major League Baseball. And question 4, Kenny, which is MMA.
Hell yeah. I love this.
It's now time for the teams to place their wagers. Now that the wagers are in, on to the questions. Question 1, the category Eric, families in sports. What current NHL goaltender currently playing for the Sabres is the son of the founder of the Canadian furniture, appliance, and home electronics store, The Brick, and his half-brother, Mike, was married to Hillary Duff from 2010 through 2016.
We're checked in.
All right, L train's checked in. That means Methy Christmas can talk it out.
David, it sounds like you have something on this, and if you do...
I think I'm going from the last part of it, where I just seem to remember there was a guy, Mike Comrie, but I don't know the goaltender's name for the Sabres. So if we're going Jeopardy rules, I would check in with Comrie.
Okay.
That might be, but again, it might be Cormy or Comrie. I don't know, but just something in that ballpark sounds familiar.
Okay. If you feel that good about it, then I say we go with it because I don't have a whole lot.
I'm going.
I just enjoy me some Hillary Duff, if you know what I mean. So yeah, let's do that. Go check. Why don't you check that in?
Let's check in with Comrie.
For how many points?
Well, we didn't realize this would be a hockey question, but we bet 100.
Everybody should know there's one hidden hockey question in every fourth quarter. And bet over to L Train. Your answer and wager, please.
Yeah, admittedly, we probably didn't do enough sniffing around to try to figure out which one would be the hockey question, or else we probably would have realized it was this one. So we also wagered 100, but I'm pretty sure that David and I are on the same wavelength here because I was like Hillary Duff, hockey player, Mike Comrie. So that's what we checked in. Comrie for 100 points.
All right. The correct answer is Eric Comrie because, that's the name of the category. Both teams getting their 100 points. So scores went up. The difference has not changed. We're going to move on to question number 2.
Hold on. I got a fourth quarter hockey question right. Thank you, Hillary Duff.
You got a fourth quarter pop culture question right.
Question number 2 in the category Kyle in draft busts or draft busts. What former quarterback started 47 games in his career for his original team that plays in the AFC? He is the third in career passing yards for the franchise, third in games started for a quarterback, and in 2010, he married a former Miss California.
All right, we're checked in.
All right, the LOL train rides again. Has checked in. Methy Christmas. You guys can talk it out.
Yeah, I think we're there. Kyle Bowler fits all of this. Went to Cal. He did start a lot of games. He wasn't very good, but he wasn't terrible. Seems a good fit. Like we're saying, like the Ravens don't have a rich quarterback history. It's Lamar and Joe Flacco and what did you say, Dilfer and Tony Banks?
Like, I mean, they've only been around for like.
They're pretty gross. It's pretty gross. Elvis Gerback,
right? Or, yeah.
Testaverde. It's
they've
not
only been
good.
around for 30 years, right? So
right.
You don't have a deep well of quarterbacks.
Yeah. So I
think
think
started for 3-4 seasons. That makes sense.
Absolutely. So we'll check in with Kyle Bowler for 100 points.
And over to L train, answer and wager.
The only thing that made sense because he's a bust. So we checked in with Kyle Bowler for 100 points.
Yeah, I mean, he's technically considered a bust, but I mean,
he is like first round draft pick quarterback.
Wasn't terrible. Like he was.
Yeah, him and Jason
Correct.
Campbell live in this weird place,
right? Yes,
where they were like,
correct.
They were good.
Yep.
Yeah, not the worst, not the best. They were Kyle Orton. That's what they were.
Yeah, Kyle Orton came up in our conversation.
Yep, same here. We were like, nope, his original team's the Bears, so it doesn't fit.
All right. So with that said, both teams getting points. The correct answer is Kyle Bowler. So both teams added 100 points again. So no change to the difference in scores. Methy Christmas still up by 5. Bringing us to question number 3, category Stan, which is in Major League Baseball. What outfielder named after Stan Musial, who played with his father, made his MLB debut with the Yankees in 1984, and his last appearance came in 2001 with the Mariners? He was on the 89 World Series champion A's, making him and his father just the third father-son combo to each win a World Series.
We're gonna check in.
Methy Christmas has checked in. That means I'll train. You guys are free to talk it out.
All right, a lot to unpack here, Josh.
Yeah.
So the dad played with Stan Musial. So the dad was a Cardinal, and then this guy, long career. So it's got to be a name that we've heard of. I mean, that's a long career for an outfielder.
I mean, Stan Javier.
I know Stan Javier, but I don't.
He might have.
Did he start in 1984? That seems very early for him. But I don't know that much about him. I mean, I know he played for the Giants in like the late 90s into the 2000s, and he was an outfielder.
I think he did play for the A's.
Stan Javier?
I think so.
If I pulled this one,
how many other Stans are you going to?
That's what that's what I'm saying. I can't come up with any.
I mean, the fact that his last appearance was in 2001 with the Mariners. I have a feeling Markkus has this one. Cold.
That's kind of also why Stan Javier popped in my head because he was like a 4th, 5th outfielder that could have easily been on that team. I don't have any other Stans. There's nothing else.
I say we go with it. I say we go with it.
That's crazy.
All right, we're gonna check in with Stan Javier for 100 points.
And Methy Christmas, your answer and wager.
When we were waiting for this question to come up, David said Stan Musial, something like that. And I'm fairly certain that Ken Griffey Jr. and Stan Musial have the same birthday, if I'm not mistaken. Either way, it didn't matter. Once I read the question and made sure to double check my stuff, Stan, named after Stan Musial, it had to be Stan Javier. He was absolutely an outfielder for the Mariners in 2001 when they won 116 games before it took 20 years for them to make playoffs again. So we checked in with Stan Javier for 100 points.
All right. Both teams again getting their points. The correct answer is Stan Javier. Yes, his father and Stan Musial were good friends. And that's still kind of weird. I don't think I'd ever name my son after my friend, but that's just me.
No, then I'd call him.
You're not going to name your son after Mike Corey?
No. No. I need somebody good at basketball.
Didn't Kanye West name his kid after Markkus's friend? North?
Yeah, northwest. That kid's going straight to the top and slightly to the left.
All right, both teams adding another 100 points. So no change in score difference again. All right, on to question 4, category Kenny in mixed martial arts. Ken Shamrock's name does not show up a lot in the UFC record books. One of the places you will see his name is the recipient of the first rear naked chokehold in UFC history. At UFC 1, what all-time great and UFC Hall of Famer executed the submission on Mr. Shamrock?
We're checked in.
All right, L Train rides again, has checked in. Methy Quithmith. You guys can talk it out.
This one's just kind of a go-to for me. Not that long ago, Josh North and I started watching, because it's on ESPN, UFC starting from UFC 1, where they didn't have weight classes, and it was just like a free-for-all, basically. It was basically like a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, whether you want to go Bloodsport or like The Quest, where it was just anybody, any weight, didn't matter. You could do whatever you wanted. And the guy who won the first one and the second one, I believe was Royce Gracie, but we're just going to check in with Gracie for 90 points.
All right, and over to L Train, your answer and wager.
Yeah, didn't know. This wasn't something neither of us really felt super strong about. But I do know that when Ken Shamrock was in the WWF in 1998, they brought in Dan the Beast Severn because they had a storied past in MMA, and that was the storyline. So because we had nothing riding on this and we wagered 0, why not check in with Dan the Beast Severn for 0 points?
All right, so one team has given a correct answer, and pretty confidently, so there's not real much thing on this. The correct answer is Royce Gracie. So points go to Methy Quithmith. And I know Dan the Beast Severn and Ken Shamrock did fight quite a bit in the UFC, just not, he was not the first one to put a rear naked choke on anybody.
I mean, so that feels a little.
But we don't know
Why did he have to get naked to do it? I mean,
but we also don't.
Publicity for UFC 1. I mean, seriously, keep your hands
publicity for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because the conspiracy theory or whatever is that the Gracie family, because they invented jiu-jitsu, set this whole thing up just to prove that jiu-jitsu was the correct martial art, and they knew that he was going to go in there and choke people out.
But just keep your trunks on. Keep your trunks on is all I'm saying. You don't have to get naked.
He had a full gi on, and then he stripped it off and was just like, ah! No, I'm kidding.
You gotta feel it in the small of their back, or else it doesn't count.
It's what gives up the neck. Like they're struggling, and then he goes, ah! And his neck opens up, and then they just slip right in there.
All right. This game has come to an end, and here are the final scores. L Train finishes today with 685 points, but Methy oh my God, I finally tripped up on it. Methy Quithmith with 780 points is today's clipboard captains, and they will be receiving the very coveted Mouth Breather Award. You all know who it is. Congratulations, guys.
No, we don't. Say it.
You don't know who the Mouth Breather is?
I know exactly who it is. I want you to say it for all the people out there.
Nobody wants to hear his name. Piece of trash. He loses to the Jaguars. How do you score? Oh my God. I can't even. Anyway.
Noah Brown.
Right. Yeah. So David, thanks again for coming on. Anything you want to say before we wrap this up?
No, that was a lot of fun. Markkus absolutely carried me there at the end. And, Markkus was making Eastbound and Down blooper reel references. So that's always like friend for life. But then he made like an off-color Penn State remark that has zero chance of ever seeing the light on this podcast. And I enjoyed that one even more. So
I edit the fourth quarter. This stuff might show up.
Yeah. Markkus was on a heater today, and it was just fun being along for the ride in that second half.
I mean, you were just the fourth quarter was just some things that I have seen on graphics recently, especially the sack leaders. That one was like a thing I saw very recently. So
Yeah.
I just looked up Mr. Mouth Breather and the picture of him from
Every one of them.
in college where he's wearing the old timey leather helmet thing. Oh my word.
If you type in this man's name, I'm not even going to say his name. He doesn't deserve to be. If you type his name into Google and just click the image tab, I want to say 75% of the pictures, his mouth is open.
Well, he is a mouth breather.
He's an offensive genius, though. If you guys did,
As a matter of fact, the pictures where his mouth is closed, it looks like he's having to forcefully hold them.
He's
closed.
thinking about it. He's thinking about
him and John Elway are the first players in history to rep their school or pro team and be their mascot at the same time.
This was my favorite halftime ever.
Oh,
There you go.
I'll say that.
Okay.
Yeah, this was a good game. It was competitive, right down to the fourth quarter. So it was a lot of fun. Halftime was great. I hope we see more like it in the future. And Nickleback was a thing.
Right. So Scott, we did find out that Scott knows more about Nickleback than
Your
any
average
other
person.
than any other bench warmer.
I did know their album's called Silver Surfer.
He's just... Anyway, guys, that's it. Anything? No, let's just get out of here. We've wasted enough time. All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast, and until next time, we'll keep the bench warm.
That ball hit high and deep. Stretch! Get on back there. They look up. You can put it on the board. Yes!
Into deep left center for Mitchell, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
That great music you're listening to is by Justin Nozick. Thanks to him for producing that music for us. You've been listening to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast. Make sure to check us out on all of our social media. We are at Benchwarmers TP.